Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Manuel. New technology is on its way to the Elmira Corning Regional Airport. The goal? A safer experience. But should you expect delays? Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst joins us with details to help you plan your next trip.
Good evening, and travelers can expect a few delays as the TSA installs new bag scanning equipment. This project will allow the airport to modernize while keeping travelers safe.
TSA's primary mission is to make sure the traveling public arrives at their destination safely.
In the latest project to keep local travelers safe, the TSA is installing a new 3D bag scanner at the Elmira Airport. The technology will allow TSA agents to better check baggage for any contraband.
The technology that we have now obviously does the job. Having said that, there's always room for improvement.
Bart Johnson, the TSA security director for New York airports, says the new scanner will not only increase safety, but also make checking bags a little more convenient.
It allows you to keep a lot more things inside your bags. You don't have to divest as much as what you formerly needed to divest.
Johnson says the new scanner puts Elmira right up with larger airports in terms of cutting-edge technology. He says it's one of several modernization projects the TSA has in mind for the airport.
You just want to have the best technology and the best capability available to you at that time. And it's not going to stop here.
Johnson advises travelers to arrive at the Elmira Airport a little earlier for scheduled flights while the scanner is being installed. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
Representative Tom Reed held a press conference in Elmira to promote the bipartisan infrastructure bill. This morning, Reed visited CAF USA factory, which manufactures rail cars. New York is expected to receive $58 billion toward railroad infrastructure. Reed says this investment will allow businesses like CAF USA to grow.
That money is going to result in real jobs that are going to be created right here in Elmira, New York, Chemung County, at CAF USA. In regards to their 200 employees today, I could see that number easily tripling in the very near future as this money rolls out.
Reed was one of 13 House Republicans to vote in favor of the infrastructure package. Tense moments as shots ring out inside the waiting room of a New York City hospital. It happened this afternoon at Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx. Officials say the victim was shot in the arm. The suspect then took off. Right now, there's no word on what led to the shooting. Police are searching for the suspect. An Omicron-specific vaccine could be on the way. Pfizer and BioNTech announced they are testing a new formula to target the strain. This as a new subvariant emerges. Jonathan Seri has more from Atlanta.
Pfizer and BioNTech have begun a new clinical trial comparing their original COVID vaccine to a formula targeting the Omicron variant. The companies say they're testing the shots for use as a booster or for primary vaccinations. Medical experts say current vaccines still offer good protection against severe illness and death.
We have to get to a point where we can accept a higher level of transmission because of this high level of hybrid immunity, vaccine immunity, natural immunity.
The announcement comes as global health officials identify a new version of Omicron. Cases of BA2 have been reported here in the U.S. as well as India and Europe. It's not yet clear whether this subvariant is worse than the original Omicron strain. The World Health Organization says conditions remain ideal for more COVID variants to emerge.
It's dangerous to assume that Omicron will be the last variant or that we are in the end game.
Meanwhile, new COVID infections continue to decline in areas first hit by Omicron, but cases are still rising in the South and West. In Washington State, National Guard members have been deployed to hospitals to help with staffing shortages.
This will allow us, at least for a month's time, to have those folks return to the hospital, provide the care that they need to either directly with patients or in support of patient care.
Federal data show more than 1,000 hospitals have reported critical staffing shortages in recent weeks. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Investors bracing for more market swings after a wild day of trading on Wall Street Monday. The Federal Reserve also kicks off its two-day meeting today, where they'll likely signal their intent to raise interest rates to fight surging inflation. Madeline Rivera explains from Washington.
All eyes are on Wall Street after it took investors on a roller coaster ride Monday. At one point, the Dow down more than 1,000 points before a stunning turnaround, with stocks ending the day in positive territory.
It's this great unknown that we're going through right now that's repricing risky assets.
Fears over a potential Russian invasion of Ukraine and inflation at a 40-year high are just some of the factors driving volatility in the markets. About 36% of voters say inflation is the biggest issue facing the economy, with some business owners saying they'll have to pass higher costs to consumers.
That has another effect where if you increase your pricing, people either buy less whenever they're in there or come out less.
On Monday, the president met with White House officials in an attempt to lower prices for Americans on a range of items from meat to hearing aids. He's putting the blame on big corporations.
Rather than competing for customers, they're consuming their competitors.
To help fight inflation, the Federal Reserve is now considering raising interest rates after flooding the market with money during the pandemic.
I think in the end, the Fed is not going to be terribly aggressive in their tightening stance. I don't think they want to push the economy into a recession. Soft landing is a whole nother problem. These things are never soft. They're never easy.
The Fed is expected to release a policy statement on Wednesday after its meeting ends. Economists predict the Fed will enact 4 rate hikes this year, the first potentially in March. In Washington, Malta Rivera, Fox News.
The SATs are going digital in the near future. Today, the College Board announced the college admissions test will soon be taken exclusively on a computer. Students will instead complete the test on laptops or tablets at testing centers. The reformed SAT will also be shortened from 3 to 2 hours in length. The changes will begin in 2024 in the U.S. and 2023 in other countries. The retooled SAT comes at a time when a growing number of colleges are eliminating the need to submit scores with an application. According to the College Board, 2.2 million high school students who graduated in 2020 took the test, and in 2021, the number dipped to 1.5 million. Still ahead tonight, finding childcare isn't always easy, and for many people, the pandemic has only made the situation worse.
I mean, honestly, without them, I don't know where I'd be working.
How one South Carolina business found a solution for their employees who have young kids, and how they're hoping it'll catch on at other jobs.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Your Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. Just a little bit warmer conditions earlier today than it was yesterday, with temperatures in the upper 20s, and there were some areas that actually reached highs near the 30-degree mark. About 6 degrees warmer in Corning, Elmira, around 10 degrees warmer, and about 5 degrees warmer in Wayland. It is going to be bitterly cold, though, as we head into tomorrow, so this warming trend is not going to last. In fact, single digits early tomorrow morning, winds coming in from the northeast. The good news is those winds will not be strong, but we are going to be about 10 degrees colder than normal for your Wednesday. Later on this week, there's going to be another warming trend, but we have another Arctic blast coming our way by the end of the week. Not only do we have snow chances, but that front will bat those temperatures back down. So tomorrow, we're not going to be above freezing whatsoever. Temperatures in the single digits early in the day, only around 15 degrees at lunchtime, and then we drop back down to around 11 degrees. So again, if there's any moisture on the roadways, watch out for a little bit of ice. So we do have another snowstorm coming our way for the latter part of this week. I think the snow will come mainly on Friday, last through your Saturday, and then colder, frigid air will be moving in by the early part of the weekend. So for tomorrow, I am not expecting any snow whatsoever. There will be a few passing clouds, and that's pretty much it. And then as we head into your Thursday, I am expecting a little bit more cloud cover as another storm system approaches, especially by the end of the day. So we're going to call it mostly cloudy by Thursday evening. Notice the blue that's showing up. Showers, snow showers that is, will be possible Thursday night into early Friday. And so again, we have more snow on the way. And so get ready for that. Get the shovels ready at least. Tonight, temperatures in the single digits with lows near 3 degrees in Elmira. Highs tomorrow will be in the teens. 18 degrees in Elmira, Corning around 19, 15 for you in Wayland, and in Mansfield about 18 degrees. So we are going to be in the deep freeze not only for tomorrow but also for the rest of the week. It is going to be a little bit warmer, nearly 10 degrees warmer on Thursday and Friday, but here comes our next storm system that will bring some snow for Friday and also on Saturday, and then that Arctic air will start to sink southward, and so our high will only be around 16 degrees on Saturday. It's going to be a cold start to the weekend, but we're going to rebound by early next week with highs back into the 20s. However, those overnight lows will be in the single digits.
In today's world, technology can be seen as something that keeps people isolated. But some schools are embracing robots in the classroom because of their ability to break down barriers. Jackie Ibanez has more about how one little bot is helping kids avoid missing out on their studies and their classmates.
Robots are becoming more commonplace in schools as some districts across the world embrace different kinds of tiny avatars to help sick kids make big strides in their education. Kids like 7-year-old Joshua from Germany, who was too sick to attend in-person classes.
When Joshua was 1 year old, he had to be operated on, and we were told either he goes into a 3-month deep coma or he'll have a tracheotomy for at least 2 years. So we as his family decided for the tracheotomy.
But with the help of this device called AV1, Joshua can do more than just watch his teachers conduct lessons from home. The robotic device acts as a placeholder for Joshua in class. Blinking lights on the robot's head let teachers know when Joshua is trying to participate, letting him be called on to ask questions, solve problems, and best of all, stay connected with his classmates.
I would love to go to school, and this helps me to see my class again.
Teachers at the school say although new technology like this comes with some roadblocks, they believe it will help any kid who may need to miss out on in-person classes for a lengthy time not fall behind.
We have talked to other parents in the class and told them Joshi can see the classroom and he can talk to the children. He can see everything on an iPad at home. We had to take away fears such as, can my child be filmed? Nah, it cannot. Joshi cannot record anything. All he can do is participate live.
AV1 is made by the company No Isolation. Officials say so far, their robots have helped kids around the world attend 20,000 days of school in 2020 alone.
Finding childcare isn't always easy. Boy, I can relate to that. And for many people, the pandemic has only made the situation worse. But one South Carolina business seems to have found a solution for their employees who have young kids. Austin Westfall reports on a restaurant in Anderson, South Carolina that has hired its own childcare staff.
Although McGee's is technically called a pub, the owners say that it's more of a restaurant. And this restaurant has a room in it with a licensed childcare provider. And the parents that work here say it's a lifesaver.
I mean, honestly, without them, I don't know where I'd be working.
If you want more fries, let us know, okay?
Summer Rochester is a fry cook at McGee's Scott Irish Pub. And her 2-year-old son is the reason that she applied to work here. About 6 months ago, the restaurant hired a licensed childcare worker to watch over staffers' kids.
I was paying $600 a month for childcare, so that got pretty rough on us.
And it's completely free.
We don't think people should have to choose between having a family and having a career.
Co-owner Dixie Banka says adding the childcare was an experiment, but it's proven to be a huge help for 9 parents who would otherwise have to seek out childcare, like expediter Benita Russell and her 12-year-old son.
And seen servers, call and say, I just can't get a babysitter, so I can't come in. So this has really been a blessing.
Employer-based childcare has been going on for years.
The National Child Care Association says that large companies are the ones that would usually offer something like child care benefits, but child care at small businesses is a relatively new idea.
I mean, it caught on like wildfire.
McGee's felt the same hiring challenges that many restaurants faced during the pandemic, but the new incentive has turned things around.
And now we're fully staffed.
Now, there are certain guidelines for child care programs like this. For example, here in the state of South Carolina, this child care program cannot have kids stay here for longer than 4 hours. So a lot of the parents that are taking advantage of the program often have shorter shifts. But still, many of these parents say that they hope that this idea spreads to other small businesses because it's helped them in their everyday life so much. For now, here in Anderson, South Carolina, Austin Westfall.
If you're thinking about getting a new car this year, be prepared to pay through the moonroof. Jonathan Hunt is in Los Angeles with more.
It's a very good time to be a car dealer if you can get the inventory. It's a very tough time to be a car buyer. Take a look at the figures. We are told by J.D. Power that the average price for a new car in December was over $45,000. That is an increase from 12 months earlier that far outstrips the general rate of inflation. It's all about supply and demand as well. We are also told that there's something like 800,000 cars at dealerships right across the entire country now. That sounds like a lot, but look at what it is usually. 3 to 4 million, so a huge decrease in the number of vehicles available. So if you're looking for a deal, forget it. Listen here.
If you don't want the price they're offering, there's someone who's going to come in 5 minutes after you and want that same vehicle and be willing to pay the price. That's how quickly vehicles are turning and what's going on with prices right now.
Now, the supply chain crisis has got a lot to do with this, of course. A lot of vehicles are actually constructed in the United States, but the parts for those vehicles still have to be imported. Here's Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, so a lot of the times it is the availability not only of imported cars, but of course in our U.S. auto industry that's so important, the availability of certain parts or components. That's one more element of why we have a sense of urgency about improving the flow of goods across the country. Until those bottlenecks are resolved, you're going to continue to see more issues.
And if you're hoping that there'll be some relief in the short term, I'm sorry, you're out of luck. We are told by the experts that these kind of price crunches and high prices on vehicles, new and used, are going to continue at least until 2023.
The U.S. Transportation Department is issuing a new rule to address unfair airline and consumer practices. The department wants to simplify the path for regulators to protect consumers from deceptive practices and unfair treatment from ticketing agencies and airlines. The change was announced on Monday. The department is planning on creating more regulations regarding refunds, baggage costs, and other fees. Under these new rules, airlines will be required to move much faster to get clear hearings that will be granted only in the public interest. American athletes going for gold in this year's Winter Olympics will be tested not only on the ice and slopes, but also with some pretty intense living conditions at the Olympic Village in Beijing. Alex Hogan has more from London.
With less than 2 weeks to go until the start of the Beijing Winter Olympics, there's growing concern for the safety of U.S. athletes attending the Games. The U.S. is one of at least 9 countries staging a diplomatic boycott of the Olympics over human rights abuses in China. The IOC has a long-standing rule against athletes making political statements at the Games. That's now backed up by the threat of punishment from the organizing committee in Beijing.
In this situation, it is just not worth it for athletes to speak out. The only answer is to say that athletes should stay silent until they get home, and that's a really horrible place to be.
The first cases of the novel coronavirus were detected in Wuhan, China at the end of 2019. Now the country will host the global event that welcomes competitors from all over the world. There have already been at least 72 cases among Olympic staff, a number that the top medical expert for the Games says is expected and comparable to what was seen at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. So far, none of the athletes arriving in Beijing have tested positive. The plan, once again, is to keep athletes in a bubble for the duration of the Games.
This is distracting them from sport. And so, yes, they may feel isolated, but more than that, they're going to feel like their performances are not the most important thing at the Olympics.
All participants will need to prove that they have been vaccinated and submit to daily COVID testing. The limited crowds are encouraged to clap instead of shout to prevent the airborne spread of the virus.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. A Michigan woman is now planning an early retirement after finding out she won the lottery from an email in her spam folder. Laura Spears was checking her spam for an unrelated email when she stumbled upon one from the lottery. The message said she'd won $3 million. Spears did this by correctly matching the 5 winning numbers and the multiplier bonus, which tripled her winnings. But Spears didn't know this until days later when scrolling through her junk folder. Now Spears is gearing up to retire, and she added the Michigan lottery to her safe senders list. Good idea, just in case her luck strikes again. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night.